unlearning and re-educating, deconstructing a lot of
Mhm.
things. I think it is
Mhm.
important that people understand that we need the physical fitness, and that's going to look different in every stage of life. That we need the nutrition, that's going to look different in every stage of life.
Mhm.
That you need to open your eyes to what self care looks like.
Menopause has long been shrouded in secrecy, leaving many clueless, ashamed, and embarrassed to seek and extend support for one of the most natural transitions and rite of passage. Well, the spirit and mood have changed. People are surrendering to curiosity, knowledge, and empowerment. In this podcast, I'll share my own experiences and point of view, peek into the lifestyle and self care practices of people experiencing menopause, and tap experts for their take on the pausal phase. This is for you if you are one of the millions of people in the menopausal phase or want to support them. I'm Dixie Lincoln Nichols, health and well-being educator and wellness founder. This is the Pause Pod. LaShanna Moore is no stranger to what it takes to be well and whole. She has navigated personal health challenges and is passionate about helping others heal. She's a holistic practitioner and has been a skilled professional in the industry for 14 plus years. She's an advocate for women's health, the underserved, and victims of human trafficking. LaShanna is a graduate of University of Houston, Trinity School of Natural Health, International Sports Sciences Association, and the Integrative and Functional Nutrition Academy. With a range of expertise in nutrition, physical fitness, herbalism, and functional medicine, she is a leading voice in aging well and healthy lifestyles. LaShanna, welcome to the Pause Pod. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and talk with me, to share with the audience, our listeners. It's super, super special because I know I've been thinking of it for so long. And finally, I've got you here. Spring is the perfect time for your perspective and all the great things that you have to offer with health and wellness. So, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I'm on the Pause Pod podcast.
Hello. Yes, you are.
Having me.
Okay, so let's dive right into it because time goes by really fast when we're having fun. So, in a former career, you were in the creative arts.
Yes.
What led you to the creative arts initially, and what happened that caused you to pivot and now focus primarily on health and wellness? Share with us that story.
Absolutely. So I'm going to condense it, of course, but my first dance class was at 4 years old. I was a very shy, reticent, withdrawn kid. So my mother, in an effort to help me open up and develop some communication skills, enrolled me in dance class. And my passion really bloomed from there. But I also had an aunt who is a registered nurse, but she's retired now, whom I admired so much, and I thought I wanted to be a nurse like her. So
Mm.
by the time I enrolled in college, I enrolled as a pre-nursing student. I attended a heart surgery with the class, and my stomach started doing something that was just, I'm like, wait a minute. um Tolerance, I thought I was going to be good with this. I've done the dissecting, I've done all of that stuff, but sitting in on that triple heart bypass really did something to me, and I had to kind of go back to the drawing board and rethink it. So I ended up claiming performing arts as a major. I did double major dance and theater, graduated, and was fully launched and fully committed to performing arts. Fast forward, preparing for a Canadian tour, a tour of Canada for a production, and I hired a personal trainer to make sure that I was in optimum shape. And the gentleman was not certified. He just had a natural physique. I didn't ask any questions, but ended up misfacilitating a workout with me, and it ruptured my Achilles tendon.
Oh my
So that was a defining moment. Surgery, rehab, recovery, and the silver lining, Dixie, then became health and wellness. Nutrition was first. to help me recover and build muscle from the atrophy, and then fitness. And actually, my road has been a string of personal experiences and full of other women's stories. So going back to school, in that pivot, and it landed me where I am today, and it has really bloomed from there. So it has grown from nutrition to holistic health, herbalism, fitness, now perimenopause and menopause. I'm humbled by the journey, but that is my story.
What a story. But can you share a little bit more about the moment, if you can recall, when
Mhm.
you felt like this is the work that I'm called to
Mm,
do, especially after the injury? Was that a memorable moment for you?
it was. I will never forget it. I have these terms I like to use: uh, life defining moment, that moment in time where you
Mhm.
will never forget the scent of something, the color, the smell, the date, the time, how the weather felt. It shifted your life, whether it good or bad, or unfortunate. And then the destiny defining moments I like to qualify as those moments where we really meet ourselves, where we meet our purpose. And that was a destiny defining moment. I remember how it felt to heal. And then I remember how empowering it was to now gift someone else with the power of going through their health journey. At first it was all fitness. So my empowerment came through helping others build confidence, build a love for their body, and in bringing those two in a synergy marriage, helping them then yield the results that they needed to yield. I will never forget how that made me feel. That was the best dopamine and confirmation that I needed. And it has continued to this day, spanning through the different concentrations that I now do my work in.
So, how long have you been doing this work?
14 years now.
And when did you make the decision to start talking about menopause? Because it is a part of the continuum. It happens, and it doesn't only happen as women age, it happens for other reasons as well, right? So, at what stage during this whole career did you say,
Mhm.
okay, menopause or perimenopause is something that I want to start addressing?
I started inquiring and developing a curiosity around 2020. And the year following that, 2021, I knew for sure that it needed to be a part of my practice. It needed to be a part of my advocacy. And then, of course, as a woman who's now in perimenopause, I had to make the decision of making my journey a part of the life and the breath of the business of the brand, because that's a personal vulnerable thing you have to decide to do. It's one thing to educate, but it's a different thing to include yourself. But I had a talk with myself and I was like, LaShanna, this is really consistent with your brand, because a part of my branding has always been I am practitioner and patient. I have understood the journey of fibroids and PCOS and being a Black woman in my country, and just being a woman, even, and navigating things. So now perimenopause is here. Let's just ease her into the conversation.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as you know, these things require education.
It does.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I understand your perspective because it is sort of one thing that leads to the other.
Yes.
One journey informs the next
It
journey.
does.
And for me, similarly to you, it
Hmm.
started with just an act of self care. I am going out into the world. I'm taking a self care sabbatical. I'm leaving this job and I'm going to just throw caution to the wind, jump, and life and God will catch me.
I love
And
your
then
story, though.
and it was like one thing after the next, the uterine fibroids, all of the things just started to unfold because when you look for healing, you get healing. You can't
Mhm.
say how it's going to happen, but it happens and you just have to be open to it. So
Mhm.
including menopause, into your practice and offering support and
Yeah,
teaching and education around it. I think it's such a natural thing to do, especially as you are already in this field and
very
you
true.
know women and you meet women where they are or people where they are who are experiencing the menopausal transition, and you get to guide them, sometimes hold their hand and
Mhm.
be with them, share your
Right.
story. So I think it's so powerful
Mhm.
that you've embraced all of it, not just
Mhm.
some of it, but all of it, which leads me to the fact that that's why you
Mhm.
are a holistic healer. It's right?
Truth.
It's not one thing, it's many things. And you have a very diverse background in holistic health, in
Yes.
herbalism, and
Yeah.
even the endocannabinoid
Yes.
system. How do
Yes.
you integrate all of these areas into your practice? And of course, not forgetting menopause. How do you integrate all of
Right.
it into your practice?
Building this picture of our bodies being an ecosystem, visually and even in conversation or in an academic share or a community share, making sure that we have an accurate understanding that our bodies are not um, individual components, that we are a unit where every facet of who we are and what lies inside of us depends on one another to function. That is, I think, the starter for helping anyone who I'm talking to understand why they may need nutrition with depression, or why they may need a massage therapy session after a mental health consultation. So that's really the picture. And that's the reference that I love to use, is that our bodies are an ecosystem. And from there,
Mhm.
we are able to kind of embrace, all right, holistic living is my mind, my body, my soul, and my spirit. So I need to open up a little bit more and embrace the idea that, it's a wellness bar. I need a little bit of this, I need a little bit of that, I need a little bit of this. I need to integrate all of these things. And I think that kind of helps people to open up more to what is being shared or what is being considered.
I love that because it's almost like you're saying to people, you are not a monolith. Like, we're not a monolith within our
Yes.
communities. We're not a
Yes.
monolith within humanity. We're not a monolith within ourselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
we need diversity in terms of how we treat our bodies. And so that
Mm-hmm.
idea of holistic, I feel like everybody needs to embrace it. It's not one
Mm-hmm.
thing, not for
Yes.
menopause, not for
No.
anything.
No.
Everything
No.
requires a multitude of actions in order for us to feel well. This morning, I shared something on my Threads account where, it was just something that I had on my mind. And it was like, some women want HRT, leave them
Mm-hmm.
alone. Some
Mm-hmm.
women don't want HRT, leave them
Mm-hmm.
alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
We cannot force people to do what they don't want to do. It's going to work for some people and it's not going to work for others. Hence the reason we
Yes.
need the practice of holistic
Yes.
healing so
Yes.
people can have choices and options and figure out what works for them and what doesn't, and having someone like you to guide them through that, because not everybody understands the value or
It's
even
so true.
understands what it is. And especially for Black women, it is
I agree.
super important for us to have this kind of healing option
Yes.
available to us.
Yes. I
So kudos
agree.
to you. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
as you are offering your holistic wellness practice, what are some of the challenges you faced and what are some of the challenges you still face? I know you are in a different phase now of your practice. You
Right.
are about to launch a brick and mortar, a physical
Yes.
space where people can go in and have services offered. What are some
Yes.
of the challenges you faced then and face now?
The primary challenge is the trust.
Mm,
Because in my experience, by the time women have heard about LaShanna, or holistically well, they have already experienced quite a bit. They've been promised a lot. They have tried the routine. They've tried the therapies, the supplements. Some of them have even gone through different types of surgeries. Maybe they've had a myomectomy already for fibroids. So it's the trust, and that only can come in my authenticity and my patience. It may take them time. So when I have a moment to connect with them, um, listening more and talking less.
Hmm.
That with that experience, you feel seen and heard. The second challenge that I would say is the emotional fatigue of the journey. Because I'm either experiencing or dealing with my own emotional fatigue, because as a woman, I'm on my journey. Um, I like for that to be transparent because you don't wake up every morning as superwoman, super leader, super
Yep.
practitioner, super this and that. There are days where I'm talking to my body and I'm like, okay, girl, what is it? And sometimes she's a little girl and I talk to her as such. Sometimes she's a very grown woman and I talk to her as such. Sometimes she's sister girl and I talk to her as such. But it is really just that cycle of being a woman, and for me now, it's 40 next week, 48 years of being in this body that I have to keep checking in, keep checking in. So it's a renewal of strength every day. And then it is also listening to the emotional fatigue of the woman that I'm working with.
Mm.
Um, and then the third thing would be the pushback, or should I say, the advocacy for what real health and wellness looks like versus what people have learned or what they've
Mm.
heard, or the influence, or the quick sound bite, or the testimonial of one. It's almost like the re-education of helping women to understand. You already said it, Dixie. We're not a monolith, so your journey is personalized. Your
Mm.
care is personal care. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, all of them are so important.
Yeah.
Trust,
Yes.
and just meeting people where they're at and
Mm,
bringing them up. I think it was Danielle Leslie that I heard say, meet people where they are and
mm,
bring them up.
mm.
And that's how you get people to trust and not
Yeah.
just giving them this idea that this is going to happen in a
Right.
week or
Oh
a
my God.
month.
No, ma'am. Right. Taking the magic out of it.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
This is
Mm-hmm.
not gonna happen in a month or sometimes even a year. And so
That's
I
right.
feel like as the founder, as the practitioner, as the teacher, right? The master
Mhm.
teacher who's bringing to the world all of these modalities, it is super important to share your story,
Yes.
to share with people where you've come from and how long it
Yes.
took you to get from A to B or A to Z, right? I think
Yes.
that's when people begin to identify and
Right.
to trust because
Yes.
then they begin to say, like you said, oh, there is no magic pill here, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
the magic within me, but it's not going to
That's
be
right.
abracadabra.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I've got to
differentiating.
put in the work. It's work, but it's beautiful work.
Right. We grow so
Beautiful
much
work.
from it.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh. Oh
we
my
do.
gosh. And the
That's
time goes by fast. It
yeah.
goes by fast. I set off on my self-care sabbatical 12 years ago,
Oh
and
my God.
I know,
Right.
I cannot believe it's been 12 years, and when I tell you the growth, the lessons, the
Oh my gosh.
journey, it led me to you, right? Had I
Yes.
not done that,
Exactly.
chances are we would
Exactly.
never have met.
So
So,
true.
ah,
How do
folks,
you feel in your body now?
I feel incredible in my body, not
Mhm.
because there is anything perfect happening,
Yes.
but because there is purpose happening in my body.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
And my purpose is to support my body
Mm-hmm.
every step of the way, to
Mm. Good.
unlearn, to relearn, to love, to
Yes.
cover
Yes.
all the things that makes me feel well
Mm-hmm.
is what I have inside of me that I'm
Mm-hmm.
utilizing to feel well, right? I don't know if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, but
Yes, it
having those
does.
tools
I
inside of you
understand.
that you can
Yes.
dig into
Yes.
is priceless. And I mean, no, I shouldn't say it's priceless. I paid the price, and the price has been
Ah,
time.
Come
It takes
on.
time and effort, right? And you know
Mhm.
that. But I feel amazing at 52, I feel great.
Mhm.
And I know that you're heading to 48
Yes,
and you do
and
a
I'm looking forward
phenomenal
to it.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's what we need.
watching She Rose and forerunners like you who fuel my excitement.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I am pro aging and aging well. And I
Mhm.
love the fact that I am blessed to enter another chapter. I am looking forward. I have friends who, oh my God, Dixie, you too. First of all, you're a fashionista. You've heard me say it before. But the grace and the elegance that you carry, and
Aw.
those are goals. And we are responsible for setting those standards.
Yeah, for real. For real. Yeah. And I have my people that I look up to. I have
Mhm.
people that I look across to, and I have
Yes,
people that I look down to. And when I say down, I don't look down on
right.
them, but the younger folks who I'm
Yes,
just
yeah, reverse
enthralled
mentorship.
with. Yes. I'm
Yes.
like, "Hey, y'all." And sometimes
Agreed.
they're like, "Hey, Dixie." And I don't need them, right? And then I have my parallel peers. I'm like,
Yes.
"What you doing, girl? Let's get
Right.
this." And then I have the
Yes.
older women who I'm like, "Gosh,
Mhm.
you like you said,
Mhm.
you are golds. I am
Mhm.
learning from you. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for being there, for lighting the way, and for
Yes.
shining this light that we get to
Right.
follow, which is
The
super
collective.
important."
Yes.
Collective, and
Oh my
that's it.
goodness. Yeah.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, how are you planning to, as you say, collective, how are you planning to build a collective with this new brick and mortar that you have? How are you planning to build community
Mhm.
that is a huge part of health and wellness community? Talk to us a bit about that.
Yes, this is the first brick and mortar for the health and wellness space. I've had an arts conservatory before, so this will be quite different. It's a different endeavor, and the accountability of it feels different as well. But I want it to be, it will be, should I say, a collaborative haven
Mm,
for love, for support, for energy that gives hope and
mm,
healing and help.
yeah,
I want this space to be a space for the community, whether you're coming to receive treatment, whether you're there for wellness purposes, whether you're there to receive resources. It really is an open door. I have a huge heart and am an advocate for health equity.
mm,
And my plan is to really provide support for the uninsured and the underserved.
mm,
That's a big thrust of my mission and purpose now. Being blessed with a brick and mortar will give more space and more capability to do those things. So I'm really looking forward to that. But
yeah,
we have a three pillar vision: the wellness space, and then expanding into a women's clinic, and then ultimately mobile health, mobile clinic. So it is the start of something wonderful that I really want to help shift the dynamic and the stats of my city.
you know what a way to start, and you've already put it in the universe, that
Mhm.
vision. Mobile, I love mobile, by the way.
Me
So
too.
you're going to meet people, like I said earlier, you are planning on meeting people where
Yes.
they are
Going to them. That's right.
and bringing them. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how
the
you do it.
accessibility. That's
Mhm.
the accessibility component of really changing lives, touching people. And sometimes you have to go to uh, someone else. I mean, I was looking at the stats. I've been doing research on this city's stats: 1.1 million residents uninsured,
Wow.
19% reported food insecure, 38%, including our sex workers and our senior community. And I'm just like, what are we doing?
So talk to me a little bit about the health equity issue and
Hmm.
what you've seen, I mean, based on your city and based on the nation, period,
Right.
that really supported your desire to create the wellness space and to expand it beyond online in your
Hmm.
community and then have bigger visions for how you intend to use it to mobilize health and wellness within the community. How did health disparity come to play in all of that?
I think about my humble beginnings. I was born in Arkansas. I think about how my parents navigated during times during economical hardships. Trailer home, four room house, moving to Houston, moving us to a low income area, all and then ultimately my mother's dream home. I think about my personal journey. I was that kid that would ask, "Are we rich now? Are we rich
Mm,
now?" Not understanding a stack of $1 bills or the money in the brown paper bag. So it hits personally for me for sure. And I'm the kind of person who listens to the stories of others. I'm thankful for the gift of empathy. I'm very empathic. And then I do believe that God doesn't just put us on the earth to take up space and to be self-centric.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
I've had to journey to also figure out, LaShanna, what are your causes? What's your purpose? And it may shift so many decades here and there, but it has always been people centered. And so now, in being in the health and wellness space, really fleshing out what that looks like. So, my heart and my work has always been really with these areas that I want to expand in,
Yeah.
working with people who could not afford um, maybe what I was providing the corporate woman,
Mhm.
and my heart being tested. Am I going to am I going to pivot and offer a service for her? You know,
Gotcha.
it has been that personal thing. It has also been watching the pulse of this country
Mm,
and watching the journey of Black and Brown women, but more specifically, Black women.
mhm,
It has
mhm,
been experiencing the passing of
mhm.
my mother and her doctor not wanting to sign her death certificate because he said he did not feel comfortable. And my mother was a huge proponent and advocate for this doctor. Um, has been watching, listening, feeling, doing.
Mm, mm.
That has landed me to this space.
You said so much there, so much. Your mother believing in this
Oh
doctor.
my God.
And I find that to be such a huge problem in the Black community.
It is
What the doctor says is gospel.
gospel. That's it.
Even if you've got another doctor in your family
All
or a
right.
nurse in your family
Yes.
or somebody who knows in your family and you
Her
tell
sister.
them,
Her
it's,
sister was a registered nurse.
see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Hmm.
Nothing supersedes what the doctor says, even if what the doctor says is incorrect
That's right.
and not best for your well-being.
That's
And
right.
that's where the education comes in. So I love that you are doing this work because there is unlearning that comes with it and
Mhm.
relearning that comes with it. And it's so
Yes.
important. And people need to know, listen, just because someone has an MD
That's
next
right.
to their name doesn't mean that they care about your well-being. And
That's
so
right.
understanding and having the
Yes.
support of organizations like yours that will
Yes.
help them understand is so important in the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that our people need to understand what well-being is,
Yes, truly.
how that works. I just did an advertisement the other day and I said, you cannot say the word wellness and not include healthcare,
Thank
medical
you.
care, and
Absolutely.
well-being.
Mhm. Absolutely.
They must be one together.
Yeah, yeah. And then there is also this co-opting of
Mhm.
wellness, right?
Mhm,
And what it
mhm,
truly means. And so we see the images of what
mhm.
wellness looks like
Right.
on social media, and
Mm.
people are confused. And that's not it. It
No.
is not it. And that is the case for everything, for menopause, because when you look even at menopause now and you see people
Yes.
talking about what well looks like in menopause, it is annoying to no
Yes.
end because all you hear people debating about is HRT, HRT,
Right.
research, research, research. All of these things are important. Not
Right.
saying they are not important, but I
Right.
want to hear more conversations
Right.
about other lifestyle practices that you need
Yes.
to incorporate into your life so that you can have this holistic approach to
Right.
well-being. You want your life to be well-rounded, and one thing is not going to
Mhm.
give you that. I don't care
Mhm.
how much supplements you take, I don't care
My
how
God.
much HRT you take. If you are
Yes.
not doing several different things
Oh, yes.
simultaneously, forget
Right.
it.
Right.
Forget it. And that's what our
Right.
people need to
Mhm.
understand and
Mhm.
learn.
Agreed. This is not an aesthetic lifestyle.
No, it's not at
I love
all.
visuals and aesthetics, and I love symmetry like the next person. Or my right
Mhm,
brain doesn't
mhm.
need to have the symmetry. Just depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Right.
But but our lives are not these wonderful, well thought out aesthetics that are sometimes posted.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
body, biology, pathology, psychologically, it doesn't work that
Mhm,
way.
mhm. It doesn't, it doesn't, it doesn't. And so what does that tell you? We have a
Yeah,
long way to go.
we have a long way to
We
go.
have a long way to go, and there is the mindset. I mean, we can talk for eons about this because
Mhm,
there is so
mhm.
much unpacking that needs to be done, especially Black women, because they are
Right.
losing their lives even,
Yes, ma'am.
and their concerns are being tossed aside and
Right.
discarded, and it's so unfortunate. But again, this is why we need women like you, advocates like you, spaces like yours
Mhm.
to bring the wellness to the community and grow, spread that wellness, and have it become a trickle effect. So, your company, Holistically Well, focuses on a holistic approach that includes mind, body, soul, and spirit,
That's
all the things.
right.
Elaborate more on why all of that is so important to one's well being.
If we do not incorporate every aspect of who we are, which is mind, body, soul, and spirit, then we're a revolving door.
Mm,
We are we're more inclined to repeat patterns or to self-sabotage, or to not make true, honest progress, or to find ourselves in trends, or to live a life that is less serving than what we have the right to live. I think it
mhm.
is important that our voices and the education around um, personal care, and you just mentioned it a minute ago, Dixie, unlearning and re-educating, deconstructing a lot of
Mhm,
things. I think it is
mhm.
important that people understand that we need the physical fitness, and that's going to look different in every stage of life. That we need the nutrition, that's going to look different in every stage of life.
Mhm.
That you need to open your eyes to what self care looks like. So, we're offering some general care services, but we may also offer you a mental health session or a session with a therapist because that is a part of your holistic living.
Yeah,
That you need to go and see a doctor, even though we are big proponents on holistic care, that is not subtracting from the urgency and the practical need for a well woman exam,
absolutely.
your pap smear. Don't bypass that. Your colonoscopy. That's a big part of the Holistically Well Center, our teaching, but also the providing that we will provide as much as we can. One thing that I have noticed is that there is a strong defining line in me being a wellness center, and then the licensing that is required for me to include medical care. So we're
Mm,
working on that aspect as well. But we
got
want
it,
people to be able to say, I know I can go to Holistically Well Center and walk in there, exhale, and go get imaging done,
got it, got
or
it.
go see what's going on with my nutrition, with my hot flashes, all that.
Explain to some of the folks that may not know what is a complementary therapy, because not everybody knows what
That's
complementary
good.
therapy is, and how do these therapies work in conjunction with other medical treatments? It doesn't have to be either or. It could be
Mhm,
this and, right?
mhm. That's so good. Thank you for saying that, because I don't want to assume that everyone understands. Your
Right,
complementary therapies, there are two terms: complementary and alternative therapy.
right, right.
These are therapies that complement our traditional therapies, the
Mhm.
therapy, allopathic remedies or treatments, which would
Mhm.
include prescription, sometimes surgical procedure, um, outpatient procedures. Those are our allopathic, our traditional
Mhm. Mhm.
health standards or modalities. Complementary alternative therapies are your massage therapy, your acupuncture, your chiropractic care. Um, we can even go into our Chinese medicine practices, all of these
Mhm.
different cultural rooted practices that really help connect that holistic. This is kind of the thread that's happening in this episode. That holistic, lifestyle, mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Mhm.
And so I think it is important for people to understand that they can have both of those. When you are seeing an alternative health practitioner, sometimes your medical history may be asked about. You want to consider any pre existing situations that you may have or any medications that you may be on. But with those considerations, bring both of those worlds together.
For the good of the body, right? Because I think some people think it's either or. Like, if I'm
Right.
doing traditional medicine, then there's no room
Right.
for alternative medicines. Well,
Right.
again, which is why it's so important to talk to your doctor about what you really want, right?
Right.
Some people don't say what they really want, so they don't even have that opportunity to experience alternative
Yeah.
medicines or complementary medicines, right? So have a conversation with your doctor or look for organizations and practices like holistic wellness and get free consultations if they have free consultations. And if
Right.
you or pay for a consultation so that you understand what your options are. And then you
True.
can have information to go back to your physician and talk to them about so you can come up
True.
with something that is tailored to you. So I love that you do that. Another thing, I know time is going by so fast. I told
It
you time
does.
flies when we're having fun, and I want you to answer so much. I want you to talk about so much. But before I go there, let's talk a bit about you and perimenopause because you are in perimenopause. What
Yeah.
has that been like for you? And when did you know you were in perimenopause?
I have wanted to say, Mama, I get it. I understand. I consider myself blessed in that I did have a mom who talked. My
Lovely.
grandmothers did not.
Got it.
But
Got it.
my mother, she talked to me very openly about what she was feeling. She did not always have language to target diagnosis or vocabulary, but she talked to me about how she was feeling and this phase of life that she was in. She had me older as well, but it
Mm,
has felt like a roller coaster ride. It's like,
mm,
okay, so we're here. I think I started noticing first with my periods.
mm,
um, my period started coming more frequently. Again, everyone is different,
mhm,
but in having prior knowledge from conversation with my mother, listening to others because my circle, I have some friends who are a few years ahead of me, listening to their conversations, paying attention to my body. And I was like, I always
mm.
look at my age as well. I think I've been a little more hyper vigilant because I've dealt with other reproductive challenges. So already kind of having an awareness. But when I saw my periods changing, I said,
Mm.
ooh.
Any other symptoms accompany that aside from the irregular periods?
Yes, the weight gain for sure.
Mm,
I am an avid exerciser. I love it.
mhm,
But gaining
mhm,
weight gain, the visceral fat came,
mhm,
insomnia came, cold sweats came, and then hot flashes came.
mm. A lot of people don't talk about the cold flushes. You usually hear about the hot
The hot
flashes or
flashes.
flushes, but
Oh, yeah.
very few people talk about the cold flushes. Yeah. How has that been for you?
Ooh, I don't like it. It's always when I'm asleep. Waking up uh, in a wet puddle with my
Right.
body being cold. It's just, yeah, it's a very icky feeling. I've started doing one thing now, drinking cool water before I go to bed, keeping water on my nightstand, just trying to set my internal gauge. And again, giving space, because many times that can help. And then there are some times where my body's like, no.
Not working.
Yeah, yeah, the cold sweats they're a thing. We talk about the hot episodes being that internal furnace,
Yeah.
and the cold sweat is almost like that experience when you have chills with a cold or a flu. You're just cold. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you're doing now to feel well? Share with us three self care practices that you are currently utilizing. Any three that you love. I'm sure it's more, but tell us three that helps to keep you grounded and rooted and well.
Mobility. Um, I've adjusted my mobility, walking, stretching, working out, but I don't do full hours anymore. Meditation, that's a part of exercise to me. Dancing, stretching. I I do what I call noga, because I'm not going to insult
Mm,
those who really do yoga.
right.
And I take a lot of my dance experience and I do a series of stretches and leans.
Mm,
And we did a little bit of martial arts, a martial art called Kali in college.
mm,
And I really just kind of group all that together.
love
So
that.
mobility. I have amplified my protein and my healthy fats in my diet. I've also amplified my fiber, and that has been very helpful. The third thing, in herbalism, I have been enjoying valerian root and evening primrose oil. Those have been helpful.
Sleep, sleep.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
See, there
So,
are so many modalities
so
that people can
many.
turn to. It's just a matter of knowing, going in, knowing
Right,
what your values are, because there is that and you
right.
can't overlook it. And then understanding your body, like you said earlier, you pay attention to your body, you are
Mhm.
attuned to your body. That is super important. Like, you know your body. If you're feeling something weird happening,
Mhm,
it's because
mhm.
something weird is happening.
It's happening, right? Don't
Yeah.
underestimate it. Don't
Mhm.
bypass it. You really are your first doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Mhm.
For real.
Yeah,
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the 4 core principles of functional medicine, because that's what drives, that's the foundation of your practice.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Number one, do no harm. That is by practice or by mouth.
Mm.
Um, see the person as a person. Secondly, treat the whole person. That's where that holistic methodology comes from. Treat the entire person. Number three, listening to the person. Let your individual share with you. That builds trust. That builds communing with them as well. And then number four would be, there are several, but the fourth one that I would say would be extension, including every, what we've been talking about, actually including every type of modality into the possibility of treatment for your
Mm.
person.
Including every modality into the
Mhm.
possibility,
Yes,
because that's what it is,
possibility.
isn't it? It's
It
the
is.
possibility,
Mhm.
and what's possible if you don't
Right.
know, right? What do you envision for the future of Holistically Well and its impact in the community? What's your big vision?
Hmm. Cue my background music, please. No.
Let's hear it.
Right. That's a good question. I don't know how far I have projected, actually, but when I think about it, I think about creating an ethos where people finally get it, Dixie.
Mm,
That they
mm,
finally understand that this is a lifestyle, that this is a journey of being well and being whole. I'd like to see people settle down a little bit on this journey. Look at it more as a lifestyle and not a race. If you
mhm.
want to do a 21-day whatever, do that, but don't dismiss grace in giving yourself that this is a continuum.
Mhm.
I want people to renew their thinking about what it's going to look like to age well in their life. I think that's the
Mm.
ethos that I want to create.
I love that. Well, aging, it will take examples,
Mm-hmm.
visuals,
Right.
because
Yes.
people have it so very distorted, a
Yes.
distorted view of what aging looks like, well aging looks like. And so we have
Right.
to, like you said, dismantle that
Right.
and piece it back together and give people models of this is what it looks like.
That's what it's going to take.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. I
Okay.
ask my guests this question, a variation of this question.
Alrighty.
So if you were a researcher in women's health,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of groundbreaking study would you conduct to explore alternative non-hormonal treatments for menopause symptoms that can potentially change the standard of care and why?
I think I would create some type of research that pulls from history. And I say that because a lot of our ideologies or our hesitations or our honest ignorances come from so many different narratives. I think that if we go back to, case in point, if we go back to history, 1700s, 1800s, with the slaves and how Black women have developed such a fear or hesitation, skepticism about certain things in the medical industry. Going back to the history of a thing, we can kind of go back to the drawing board. I'd be interested in seeing some technology. I'd be interested in seeing some institutions. I'd be interested in seeing digital apps that would support, just like we have invested in ancestral research, and everyone has their thoughts about which one is the more authentic. But nevertheless, it has us searching, it has
Mhm.
us going back to inquire about our roots. That's what first came to me when you asked
Yeah.
that question, that I think we need to go back to the ground floor.
Because there's so much we can learn from the past. The
Hmm.
past informs the future.
It
And
does.
best believe that nothing that we have currently comes from
No,
spontaneous generation.
nothing
It
new
comes
under the
from the
sun.
past.
Nothing new under the sun. As innovative
Exactly.
as you may feel like you are,
Yes.
something in history, whether you are conscious of it or not, may have driven that thought.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I love the idea of going back to history. I mean, hello, the
Yeah.
pyramids are there and they can't even figure out how on earth.
The history of all time. Exactly.
So the medication or the thing to support menopause, the ideal
Yes.
support may very well be lying in the past somewhere.
Let me tell you
Mm,
exactly.
mhm, mhm,
From the
mhm.
beginning of
Yeah.
time, because women who were women then were always women,
Right, right,
which
right,
means they navigated their lives for the era that they lived in. Oh my
right,
God, if we could
right.
have a
Yeah,
conversation with
yeah.
them.
Taking from your words earlier, it holds a
Yes.
powerful possibility. So I love
We
that.
would be historians, yes.
Last question. What
Okay.
would you like to see in the future for menopause? I mean, you're in perimenopause, you are moving toward menopause and postmenopause. What would you like to see by the time you are in postmenopause?
I want to see it overall. This is an overarching
Mhm,
comment
mhm.
or expression. I want to see it. I want to see it become more normal. I want to see it normalized.
Yeah, yeah.
My post I shared Sunday with having a hot flash, and every now and then I'll share a post like that. I shared with my husband because we're very conscious of our social media presence and how we
Mhm,
use social media. So we'll check in with each other. And I shared it with him, and I wanted to know how he felt about it. And because he's
mm,
learning so much through me, he said, "Are you sure you want to share that?"
mm,
And I asked him, so I said, "Well, what does this mean to you? What is this saying to you?" And his response was, "Well, it's like menopause. It's You're getting older. Um, things are declining." So he had his own idea. Number one, as a man. Number two, just from whatever it is that he knows. And so we had a conversation about that. Sharing that to say, I think I want to see us just normalize it. I always regard it as a rite of passage. We can do all of the creating, we can innovate because we have those abilities, but until we make this a normal rite of passage, removing the stigma, whatever we create will still have a certain perception to certain people. So I think what I can say right now is just normalizing it. You go from puberty, we have periods, your breast mature, we go through all of these phases. Let's
Mhm.
just normalize it. That's what I would say, Dixie. I'm sorry.
Listen, no,
Yeah.
you said it, and you brought
Mhm.
forth the passion and the desire behind all the
Mhm.
things that you were saying about about where you wanted to be by the time you get there. So
Mhm.
I feel it's so important expressing that so that
Thank
people have a clear understanding as to why you want it to be where you say you
right.
want it to be. There's a reason
Yes.
for that, right?
Yes.
Because there is too much shame. There is too much stigma still attached to
Absolutely.
it.
Right.
Thank God we're cracking that,
Right.
right? And we're peeling back some of that layers and we're dispelling some of those myths. And
Mhm.
there's just so much going on and so much to
Mhm.
unpack.
Yeah.
But imagine how much freer and more at
Right.
ease and confident
Right.
we
Yes.
will experience this, or the people
Yes.
behind me and behind you, and even
Yes.
you will experience menopause if
Right.
it's made to be seen for what it is. But that's the thing that we have to get to, helping
True.
people understand what it actually is and
Right.
not what they've been taught it
Yes.
is.
Mhm, mhm,
And that's
right.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, oh my gosh, my friend, I am super excited for all the amazing things that you're doing
Thank you.
for Holistically Well and
Yes.
what it's bringing to the world via the internet and to the community that you are going to be launching in, and then the greater communities that you plan on launching in with mobile
Right.
access and all of that great stuff. Good
Thank
luck and congratulations,
thank
and I wish you nothing but prosperity and abundance
thank
in
you.
your presence and your work. Yeah, and in health and well-being, of course, yeah. So, of course, before you go, share with us where the viewers can find you and how they can stay connected with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I do invite you all to stay connected with me. I'm on social media throughout as Holistically Well Center. I know that's a lot. And personally, LaShanna Leonard Moore. So both of them are very wordy, but Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website, holisticallywell.co. Co. That's a little shorter.
Okay, great. Don't worry. I'm going to have all of those up in the show notes so
Okay.
people will have the links to just click on it and
It's
go straight to your social media platforms and sign up for your email and newsletters. Definitely follow LaShawna. She is doing great work, great advocacy, phenomenal teaching. She's opening a physical space and we'll expand on that at some time later. But she needs our support as she is supporting others. And we want to uplift and uphold the work that she's doing because it's so precious and so important to our community. And she's taken up the torch and she's doing the work. So, yeah, let's continue to shine a light for her. LaShawna, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I enjoyed it, Dixie. Thank you so much for thinking of me and for having me a part of the Pause Pod family.
You are welcome. And listeners, thank you for leaning in. Let's continue to perimenopause and prosper. I'll see you next time.